Hello, everyone. Today, I have another wonderful story for you. This story is not only for improving your English listening skills, but it also teaches an important lesson about honesty. The title of today's story is The Honest Taxi Driver. Listen carefully because, at the end, I will ask you a few questions. Let's begin. David was 32 years old. He worked as a taxi driver in a busy city. Every morning, he woke up before sunrise. He washed his taxi. He checked the tires. He cleaned the windows. Then he drove into the city looking for passengers. David was not rich. He lived in a small apartment with his wife Emma and their 8-year-old daughter Lily. Life was sometimes difficult. The rent was expensive. Food prices kept rising. The taxi needed repairs almost every month. Still, David smiled every day. His father had taught him one important lesson. "My son," his father always said, "money can disappear, but your honesty will stay with you forever." David never forgot those words. He believed that a good name was worth more than a full wallet. One rainy evening, the streets were crowded. Cars moved slowly through traffic. David received a request near the train station. A well-dressed businessman entered the taxi. "Good evening," David said. "Good evening, please take me to Grand Palace Hotel." During the ride, the man answered several phone calls. He sounded busy and stressed. When they reached the hotel, he quickly paid the fare. "Thank you," he said. Then he rushed inside without looking back. David picked up another passenger. A few minutes later, he noticed something on the back seat. It was a black leather briefcase. He stopped the taxi. He opened it just enough to see an ID card. Then his eyes became wide. Inside the briefcase were several bundles of cash. There was also a laptop and many important documents. David immediately closed the case. His heart began beating faster. David parked his taxi on a quiet street. He looked at the black briefcase again. He did not open it this time. He already knew it contained a large amount of money. For a moment, many thoughts filled his mind. "My daughter's school fees are due next week," he whispered. "The taxi needs new tires. The rent is also due." Keeping the money would solve many problems. No one had seen the briefcase. No one knew it was in his taxi. David closed his eyes. Then he remembered his father's words. Honesty is doing the right thing, even when nobody is watching. He took a deep breath. "I must find the owner," he said firmly. David carefully searched the outside pocket of the briefcase. He found a business card. It read, "Michael Thompson, CEO, Thompson Logistics." There was also a phone number. David immediately called it. A woman answered. "Good evening, Thompson Logistics." "Hello," David said politely. "My name is David. I think one of your employees left a briefcase in my taxi." There was silence for a few seconds. Then the woman spoke excitedly. "Please wait." David could hear people talking in the background. A minute later, another voice came on the phone. It was the businessman. "This is Michael Thompson. My briefcase. Did you really find it?" "Yes, sir. I have it with me." The man sounded relieved. "You have no idea how important that briefcase is. Can we meet tonight?" "Of course," David replied. Before driving to the hotel, David stopped at a small tea shop. His friend Sam was there. Sam had also been a taxi driver for many years. David told him what had happened. Sam's eyes became wide. There was money inside. David nodded. "A lot." Sam leaned closer. "If I were you, I would keep some of it." David looked surprised. "What?" Sam smiled. "He is a rich businessman. He probably won't even notice." David slowly shook his head. "No. It isn't mine." Sam laughed. "You are too honest." David smiled calmly. "Maybe. But I sleep well every night." Sam did not answer. David finished his tea, stood up, and drove away. The Grand Palace Hotel was bright and beautiful. Michael Thompson was waiting in the lobby. The moment he saw David, he walked toward him quickly. My briefcase. David handed it to him. Michael opened it immediately. The money was still there. The laptop was inside. Every document was exactly where it should be. Michael looked at David with respect. You didn't take anything. David smiled. It wasn't mine. Michael shook his hand warmly. Very few people would do what you did. I cannot thank you enough. He reached into his wallet and offered David a large reward. David hesitated. Sir, returning your property was simply the right thing to do. Michael smiled. And rewarding honest people is the right thing for me to do. David accepted the reward with gratitude. Thank you. Before David left, Michael stopped him. May I ask you something? Of course. How long have you been driving a taxi? Almost 10 years. And do you enjoy it? David thought for a moment. I enjoy meeting people. But I dream of giving my family a better life. Michael nodded. I own several transport companies. We are always looking for trustworthy people. He handed David another business card. Come to my office on Monday. I believe honesty is more valuable than experience. David looked at the card. He smiled. Thank you. I'll be there. Monday morning arrived. David woke up earlier than usual. He put on his best shirt. Emma smiled and adjusted his collar. You look handsome, she said. David laughed. I hope they think so too. Lily hugged her father. Good luck, Dad. I know you'll get the job. David kissed his family goodbye and drove to Thompson Logistics. The office building was much larger than he expected. People in business suits walked in and out. For a moment, David felt nervous. Maybe I don't belong here, he thought. Then he remembered something else his father used to say. Confidence comes from doing the right thing. He took a deep breath and walked inside. A receptionist welcomed him with a smile. Good morning, you must be Mr. David. Yes. Mr. Thompson is expecting you. She led him to a large office. Michael stood up and shook David's hand. I'm glad you came. Thank you for inviting me. They sat down. Michael looked at David's work history. I've already read your application. You don't have a college degree. No, sir. You've never managed a company. No. But I have 10 years of experience serving people. Michael smiled. I know. Tell me something. If nobody had known about that briefcase, would you still have returned it? David answered immediately. Yes. Because honesty isn't something you do for praise. It's who you are. Michael smiled again. That's exactly the answer I hoped to hear. David was hired as a fleet supervisor. His job was to help manage over 50 company vehicles. Everything was new. Computers, reports, schedules, meetings. During his first week, he made several mistakes. He entered the wrong delivery times. He misplaced some documents. He even forgot one important meeting. David felt embarrassed. One evening, he stayed late at the office. I don't think I'm good enough, he said quietly. Michael happened to walk by. You look worried. David nodded. I was a better taxi driver. Michael smiled. Nobody starts as an expert. You're learning. Keep improving. That's all I ask. David felt encouraged. From that day, he studied every evening. He learned how to use the company's software. He asked questions whenever he didn't understand something. Slowly, his confidence grew. 3 months later, David was checking company records. While reviewing invoices, he noticed something strange. Several fuel receipts looked fake. The numbers didn't match. Someone was stealing money from the company. David checked everything again. The evidence was clear. He faced a difficult decision. Reporting the problem could make some employees angry. Ignoring it would be easier. But David already knew what the right choice was. He prepared a report and went directly to Michael. I found something important. Michael carefully read every page. After a long silence, he looked at David. You've just uncovered a fraud that has been costing the company thousands of dollars. An investigation began immediately. A dishonest manager admitted what he had done. The company recovered much of the lost money. Later that afternoon, Michael called David into his office. You've protected this company twice. First by returning my briefcase, and now by protecting our business. I'm proud to have you on our team. David smiled. I simply did my job. Michael replied, No. You did what many people would be afraid to do. Over the next 2 years, David continued working hard. He learned new skills every month. He treated every employee with kindness and respect. People trusted him. Whenever a new worker joined the company, David was the first to help them. His reputation grew. Soon, Michael promoted him to operations manager. The salary was much higher. David and Emma finally moved into a comfortable home. Lily had everything she needed for school. For the first time in many years, David no longer worried about paying the bills. One evening, while eating dinner together, Lily asked, Dad, why do good things keep happening to us? David smiled. They didn't happen overnight. They came one honest decision at a time. Emma reached across the table and held his hand. We're proud of you. David looked at his family with gratitude. At that moment, he realized he had achieved something even more valuable than success. He had earned the trust and respect of everyone around him. 5 years passed. Thompson Logistics became one of the most successful transport companies in the city. David was now the general operations manager. He was responsible for hundreds of drivers and many company vehicles. Although his position had changed, his character had not. Every morning, he greeted the security guards with a smile. He thanked the cleaning staff. He listened carefully to every employee. People respected him because he respected everyone. One Monday morning, a young man named Kevin came for a job interview. He looked nervous. His clothes were clean but old. David remembered himself many years ago. He invited Kevin into his office. So Kevin, David said kindly, tell me about yourself. Kevin looked down. I don't have much experience. I've been rejected by many companies. But I learn quickly. I only need one chance. David smiled. Those words sounded very familiar. Years ago, he had asked for one chance too. David decided to hire Kevin. Some managers were surprised. He has very little experience, one of them said. David replied, skills can be taught. Honesty and determination are much harder to teach. Kevin worked harder than anyone expected. He arrived early every day. He stayed late when necessary. He never complained. Whenever he made a mistake, he admitted it and learned from it. Within a year, Kevin became one of the company's best employees. One afternoon, he thanked David. Sir, you changed my life. David smiled. No, you changed your own life. I only opened the door. You chose to walk through it. Kevin never forgot those words. One rainy afternoon, an elderly man walked into the office. David recognized him immediately. It was Mr. Michael Thompson. He had officially retired 2 years earlier. David stood up with a smile. Mr. Thompson, it's wonderful to see you. Michael laughed. I wanted to visit the company. But mostly, I wanted to see you. They sat together and enjoyed a cup of coffee. Michael looked around the busy office. You've done an excellent job. The company is stronger than ever. David smiled. I learned from the best. Michael shook his head. I only gave you an opportunity. You built everything else through your character. Before leaving, Michael handed David a small gift. Inside the box was the old business card David had used to return the briefcase years ago. On the back, Michael had written, Success begins with one honest decision. David looked at the card with tears in his eyes. I'll keep this forever. That evening, David drove home. He was no longer driving a taxi. But he still remembered every street, every passenger, every long day. every difficult choice. When he arrived home, Lily greeted him at the door. She was no longer a little girl. She was preparing to enter university. "Dad," she said, "our teacher asked us to write about our biggest hero." David smiled. "Who did you choose?" Lily hugged him. "You. You taught me that success isn't about becoming rich. It's about becoming someone people can trust." David felt happier than ever before. He realized that the greatest reward was not the money. It was the example he had set for his daughter. That night, David looked up at the stars. Years ago, he had prayed for a better life. Now he understood something important. A better life begins with better choices. One honest decision can change your future forever. Moral of the story. This story teaches us 4 important lessons. First, honesty is valuable, even when nobody is watching. Second, doing the right thing may not give you an immediate reward, but it builds trust that lasts a lifetime. Third, opportunities often come to people with good character. Finally, success is not only about money. It is about earning respect, helping others, and living with integrity. Remember, honesty may seem difficult today, but it creates a brighter tomorrow. Comprehension questions. What was David's job at the beginning of the story? What did the businessman leave in the taxi? Why was David tempted to keep the money? What advice did David's father always give him? What did David decide to do with the briefcase? Who was the owner of the briefcase? What job did Michael Thompson offer David? What problem did David discover at the company? Why did David decide to hire Kevin? What did Lily say was her father's greatest achievement? Thank you for listening to today's story. I hope you enjoyed practicing your English while learning an important life lesson. If you understood the story, try answering the questions before reading the answers again. Keep listening, keep learning, and remember, every small step you take today brings you closer to fluent English. See you in the next story.